At the lesson 6, we discuss about the introduction to criminal investigation and criminalistic. So, after the discussion in this lesson, I can now define the criminal investigation and criminalistics. And now I know the significance of forensic areas in criminal investigation. And now I also know the what's, why's, and how's of criminal investigation. And also, I can now fully appreciate the tools of criminal investigation and be acquainted with the golden rule of criminal investigation. So, at this lesson, we tackled about the fundamentals of criminal investigation. Investigate is come from the Latin word investigare, which means to look into for traces, and vestigium, which means footprint. So, criminal investigation is an art which deals with the identity, location, apprehension of guilty party, and provide evidence of guilt through criminal proceeding. There is 3 I's tools for criminal investigation. First is the information. It is the knowledge or data that the investigator acquired in person and record. There are 3 sources of information. We have the regular sources. It is acquired from open sources such as files. And we have the cultivated sources. It is acquired for informant, give information, and informer, give information with payment. And we have the graphamine. It is the acquired by the underworld characters such as the prisoners and criminals. There are general sources of information. We have the person. It is pertains to the victim, informant, or informer. 2 is the things. It pertains to the physical evidence. And last is the place. It pertains to the crime scene. Next, I tool for investigation is the interview and interrogation. Interview, it is the simple questioning. It is a person who has knowledge. Witness, a person who can perceive and perceiving and can make known his perception to other. Interrogation is the skillful questioning. It is used to a person who is reluctant, hostile, and unwilling to give information. So we have the format of interview. First is the identity. The investigator should give his name, rank, and agency. Next is the report. It is the building up of a positive feeling between the investigator and the subject. Next is the opening statement. Indicate the reason why the subject is being contracted. Next is the narration. It allows the subject to give the story. It utilizes an open-ended question not answerable by yes or no. Next is the inquiry, clarification of information. And the last one is the conclusion, give an utmost courtesy. Next, we have the purpose of interrogation. First is to obtain confession. Second is to induce him to make an admission. Third is to learn the facts of the crime. Fourth is to know the identity of the accomplice. 5 is to develop the information for the recovery of fruits of the crime. And the last one is to discover the details of other crime committed by the suspect. But according to RA 7438, it is the right of the accused. He should only give a statement voluntarily and not by the means of threat, coercion, force, or etc. Next tool in the crime investigation is the instrumentation. It is the application of instruments and methods of physical science to the detection of crimes. So we have 2 procedure of identification by eyewitness. We have the physical lineup. It is the mean of selecting suspect from group of innocent person. It is usually composed of 7 to 10 persons. Second is the physical show up. It is one person is being shown to the witness right after the crime was committed. Another topic that we have discussed under this lesson is the introduction in criminalistic. So, criminalistic is the application of science in the field of law enforcement. It is a subfield in criminology that deals with the study of criminal things. Criminal things, those are the one left behind by the criminal penetrator in the scene of the crime which have significance in the criminal investigation. So, what is the difference between criminalistic and criminology? Criminalistic is the study of physical evidence through a laboratory work, while criminology is the study of the causes of crimes and the criminal people. So we have 2 divisions of criminalistic. Number 1 is the scientific division. Under this, we have the chemistry, physics, and biology. Second is the technological division. Under this, we have the fingering, forensic photography, question document examination, polygraphy, forensic medicine, and forensic ballistics. So for technological division, under the criminalistic is the fingering. It is one of the universally accepted means of personal identification through the study of fingerprint. Fingerprint is an production of pattern or design formed by the ridges on the inside of the joint of the finger. Dactylography, it is the scientific study of fingerprints as a means of identification. Also, we have the dactyloscopy, the practical identification of dactylography. It is the making of identification by fingerprints, comparison, and the classification of fingerprints. There are four indeed valuable fingerprints. So, the fingerprints is used in criminal investigation, proving a suspect identity and criminal record. Number 3 is proving an identified dead person or identity, and finding a wanted and missing person. So, we have also discussed the different fingerprints patterns. We have the ulnar loop, radial loop, plain arch, tended arch, plain whorl, central pocket loop whorl, double loop whorl, and accidental whorl. Another is the doctrine of fingerprinting. So we had the infallible, it is said that it never make a mistake. Second is the perennial, the conclusive and permanent. And the last one is the immutable, it is the unchangeable. Another instrument for investigation under the technological division of criminalistic is the forensic photography. So, police photography, it is the most obviously useful in police work when photographs serve as an evidence that can often thus prove facts. It is an invaluable to investigators, attorneys, judges, witnesses, juries, and defendants. So, we have photographs. Photographs help in the reconstruction of crime and the identity of suspect as well as the victim. So, we have also the Ruges Gallery or the MAG file. It is prepared album of identification of common criminals and offender. There are so many uses for the photography in police work, like for identification files, communication and microfilms files, evidence, offender detection, court exhibits, reproduction of copying, personal training, crime and fire prevention, and public relations. So, we have four primary ways of using photography in police work. Number 1 is as a means of identification. Number 2 is a method of discovering, recording, and preserving evidence. Number 3 is a way to present in the courtroom or the pertinent elements of crime. And the last one is for training and public relation medium for police programs. Another instrument for investigation under the technological division of criminalistic is the question document. It is one in which facts appearing are not true and are contested either in whole or in part with respect to authenticity, identity, or origin. Document is a very deed or instrument executed by a person by which some disposition or agreement is proved, evidence, or set forth. So we have different kinds of document. First is the public document. It is any document notarized by public or a competent public official with solemnities required by the law. Next is the official document. It is any instrument issued by the government or its agents or its officer having the authority to do so, and the offices which are accordance with their creation they are authorized to issue. Next is the private document. It is every deed or instrument executed by a private person without the intervention of notary or any person legally authorized. Next is the commercial document. It is an instrument executed in accordance with the Code of Commerce, containing disposition of commercial rights or obligation. Next, under the technological division of criminalistic is the polygraphy. It is the scientific method of detecting deception with the use of polygraphy instrument. It has a new name of lie detection. So, polygraph instrument is a scientific diagnostic instrument used to record physiological changes in the blood pressure, pulse rate, respiration, and skin resistance. Polygraph, in Greek, it means many writings. In other name is truth verifier. Another instrument under the technological division of criminalistic is the forensic or legal medicine. It is a branch of medicine which deals with the application of medical knowledge to the purpose of law and in the administration of justice. So we have different types of medical evidence. Number 1 is the real evidence. This evidence is made known or addressed to the sense of the court. Number 2 is the testimonial evidence. A person may be commanded to appear before the court to give his testimony. His testimony must be given orally and under the oath of affirmation. A physician may be presented in court as ordinary witness or expert witness. Another types of medical evidences is the documentary evidence. A document is an instrument on which is recorded by means of letter, figure, or make intended to be used. Number 4, we have the experimental evidence. It is a medical witness may be allowed by the court to confirm his allegation or uncorroborated proof to an opinion he previously stated. Number 4 is the experimental evidence. A medical witness may be allowed by the court to confirm his allegation or as to corroborated proof to an opinion he previously stated. Last is the physical evidence. These are the articles and material which are founded in the connection of the evidences in which aid in establishing the identity of the penetrator or the circumstances under which the crime was committed. The last one under the technological division of criminalistic is the forensic ballistics. Ballistic is defined as the science and motion of projectiles. Motion refers to the movement of mobility and projectiles refers to the metallic or non-metallic object propelled from a firearm. It is also refers to the science of firearm identification. It is derived from the Greek word balu or balein, which means literally to throw. Firearm identification deals with the study, comparison, and identification of weapons alleged to have been used in the commission of crime. It involves in the examination of ballistics or exhibits such as the firearm bullet, shells, firearms, and other related matters. So we have different branches of ballistic. First is the interior ballistic. It is the branch of science which has something to do with the properties and attributes of the projectile while it is still inside the gun. Next is the exterior ballistic. It is the branch of science which has something to do with the attributes and movements of the bullet after it has left the gun muzzle. So this involved the following: muzzle blast, muzzle energy, trajectory, range, velocity, air resistance, full of gravity, and penetration. Next is the terminal ballistic. It is the branch of the science that deals with the effect of the impact of the projectile on the target. And it involves in the following: terminal accuracy, terminal energy, terminal penetration. The last one is the forensic ballistic. This branch of the science involves the investigation and identification of firearms by means of the ammunitions fired through them. It includes the following: the field investigation. This is the job done by the first officer on the case in the field of the case under the investigation involving firearms. Next is the technical examination of ballistic exhibit. This is the job performed by the firearm examiner within the laboratory involving the marking of evidence, fire bullets evidence, fire shell evidence, firearms, and other related laboratory works. So, at the end of the lesson 6, I understand and fully learned the golden rule of criminal investigation. This is: thou shall not touch, move, nor alter anything in the crime scene unless it is properly photographed, measured, and sketched, or otherwise preserved as not to destroy or contaminate the important criminal things. This statement really made me believe that investigation is really important in every crime scene, and the evidence is the one who will prove the penetrator or the location of the penetrator.